Yes, recording video this time. Recording audio. Yes, recording audio this time.
Good to go.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So when this episode comes out,
Uh-huh.
I will be in the nation of Italy, as they say it. Italy. I will be in Italy. They don't say it there. No. I'm the one going to Italy, so
That's fair. Yeah, that's a good point,
I
man.
would know.
I know.
It's not like you've ever been there.
in your defense, I was there for like 6 hours one day, but I have been there. Yes.
Well, I'll be there for 7 days, so I'll be Superior Italy Man.
That's what they call him.
That's my superhero
Everybody's
name.
favorite superhero, Superior Italy Man.
So, okay, first question. Any souvenirs you want me to bring back for you?
Yes.
Yeah, what do you want?
The Coliseum.
The Coliseum.
Coliseum.
I'll get the Doofenshmirtz.
If you could bring me a Barbera from Barbera, Italy, that would be great. Sorry, it's a
like
bottle
a
of
Hanna
wine.
Barbera? Oh,
it's a type of wine. No,
gotcha. No, I'm not going to do that one.
Probably.
Okay.
I can't think of anything right now, though.
Maybe I'll get you a cool like trinket from a shop at the Vatican.
As long as it's a bear trinket from
what?
Critical Role.
I've never
There's a
watched.
bear named Trinket in Critical Role.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah, I've never watched Critical Role or listened to it or
It's very good.
Sure, people love it. I think I attempted it one time and I was like 4-hour episodes. I ain't got time for this.
The anime.
The anime I have not watched.
Yeah.
No. Anything, now more important question, anything you want me to tell the Pope for you?
Number 1.
Okay.
Maybe yes, get a Popplio card signed for me.
That would be great. I'll try.
Every time I hear somebody say Pope Leo, I'm like,
Here's the thing. I'm gonna have to find where he is. Okay, I don't have any plans. Like, I'm not gonna be at like
you have
like
been
an audience
ordained
with him. I have to go find
as
him.
a pastor in the family of God.
It's true.
Just ask him.
We're on equals in my view. From my viewpoint,
legitimate.
We are equals.
We are equals as far as like
church authority goes.
My man's got like doctorates. Like my man is.
Yeah, as far as church authority
Popes
goes,
are geniuses, man.
No, I would say not church authority. I would say as far as scriptural authority, I would say I'm on the same level as he is.
Similar to same. I agree.
Yes, because I don't believe in the actual concept of the Pope.
Right. Yes.
But here's the thing: I'm gonna have to find him. I don't have any audience. I'm not gonna be at an audience with him. I'm there too late for his Wednesday address to the Basilica. So I'm gonna have to find him. So I'm probably gonna have about 2 seconds before I am killed by the Vatican security. So make sure what you need me to tell him is important. Do you still want to stick with the Popplio thing?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Give me a Popplio card.
Please, Carl! They hit me one of their big their pikes or whatever they have.
Yeah.
You ever seen the Vatican security? They look goofy but you should be terrified. They are like high level special ops military, like but they have very funny outfits on.
A little off topic. You know how if you actually approached the Royal Guard in England, they will like yell at you?
They'll yell at you?
If you get too close, they will like army.
It's not the same as in movies.
Like scare people type stuff.
Sure.
What I did not realize until I saw a reel of it recently, if you do get too close to their horses are trained to bite you.
Cool.
And like there's so many videos of somebody like sneaking in a little closer, a little chomp.
They'll bite you like a cube of sugar.
It's like there are signs everywhere that's like, do not approach. Don't
I think it's a rule in life unless I have explicit, like somebody with a clearly farmer uniform on says you can get next to this horse. I'm gonna give a horse 15 feet of space. They're beautiful and terrifying creatures, you know?
I have been stepped on by a horse before, and let me just say
You've been stepped? Oh, okay.
And let me just say that I was so happy that I was wearing steel-toed boots, man, because my foot like sank into the ground.
Yeah, they're strong animals. All right, I'll get you a Popplio card, but you'll have to get it from
I'll warn you.
You have to get it from my next of kin. Worth it. Oh. Let's do a podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to Save and Continue, where theology and pop culture meet. I am going to be the king of pirates.
And I will no longer have. There will no longer be a physical Fox.
No,
At the
it's only
beginning of
digital
January
foxes.
2028, we'll be moving to digital only Fox.
They call me Steve Luffy Valdez, as I'm going to be the king of the pirates.
Oh yeah, right. That reference. One Piece.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Which I'm going to talk about a little later. But
Sure.
anyway, Fox.
There's been a lot of news lately.
There's been some stuff going on.
A lot
my
going
man.
on.
It's
Should we go behind the scenes a little bit about how we got to what we're going to talk about today?
yes.
I suggested. So there's a guy named Jason Schreier.
Mm-hmm.
He is a news reporter for Bloomberg, covers the video game industry. Jason
Triple
Schreier
Click podcast.
He has a Triple Click podcast. He's all over. If you're
Yeah.
in the realm of learning about video games, you will hear his name. He has a YouTube channel now, which is one of my favorites ever. It reminds me of like 2012, where it's just a guy looking at a camera and talking for 20 minutes.
Long form YouTube is huge right now.
Long form. His
Yeah.
is not long form as far as we would say long.
I guess 8 minutes is like
his is like
the
10
sweet
to
spot.
20,
Yeah.
which I guess it's all relative, but it's not edited. It's literally just him talking and then done. Like him just like,
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about this. Jason Schreier is like the reporter to be feared in the video games industry. Like
My man.
you be careful if
Yeah.
you're actually talking to him, basically. He has been doing this YouTube channel where he'll just kind of talk about a topic, whether it's a general overarching topic or specific news. And he, in one episode, basically made a statement, made a point where he said he doesn't believe that greed is the right kind of term to use for the video game industry and the things like the what's the word I'm looking for, where it's companies mergers, whatever.
Yeah. Oh,
Mergers or studio shutdowns or all that. You know, he doesn't believe that greed is the right kind of term to use for it because it's a machine and not a human, and he considers greed to be a human term. And I thought that was really interesting. Like it stood out to me in that episode. And in the next video he did, he brought it up. More people had like disagreed with that, and he like kind of expanded on and talked about kind of just the stock market and all that kind of stuff and business practices in general. But it really got me wondering, like maybe we should talk about this. Can we use greed to talk about? We're going to keep it in the realm of the video game industry,
right?
Can we use greed to talk about like how these things operate? Is Xbox being greedy when they lay off 3,200 people, or should we just say, well, that's the way the cookie crumbles because it's a business, it's a machine, that's how the machine works? Or is there some overlap there? And we were going to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Sony
Sony comes out with the big old bombshell of, hey, starting, I believe, 2028, January 2028, they will no longer be producing physical
media.
discs. This is for any game that will run, not even just their first party stuff. Any game that runs on the PlayStation 5, they will be digital only. There's some assumptions and some theorizing that means this is going to, they're going to do this kind of coincidentally with the PlayStation 6 launching, so that there will only be digital PS6s. That's not confirmed, but we saw that and we were like, well, this feels relevant to that conversation.
Yeah.
The idea of piracy is kind of being talked about a little bit, and the ethical norms regarding piracy. And so kind of that's what we want to talk about today, is that general realm, because especially the piracy thing, because that's been interesting for you.
Yes, it's been something I've been thinking about a lot. Oddly enough, because of One Piece. I've been reading a lot of One Piece lately because my son loves it and I love my son, and so I'm like, I'm gonna get into this.
Notice how you didn't say I love One Piece.
Let me be clear. For the first 50 volumes of One Piece, it was candy. It was some fun side read. It was great, whatever else. And then the Paramount War hit, which is an arc in One Piece.
Paramount Productions, yeah.
I immediately am hooked.
Pirates.
It nice. So what has been kind of like a background side thing throughout all of One Piece has been like the basic premise of it is the 99% of the world is ocean.
Mm-hmm.
There's 1% of the world that is just islands that
The
are kind
Grand
of all
Line.
over the place. And
Right enough to know some of the things.
well, yeah, and so on land, there's a pretty heavy oligarchy of just the elite rule, and if you are not the elite, you are heavily and like extremely oppressed.
Yeah.
And therefore that's why piracy is so huge. Piracy is a huge culture on this planet because you don't want to be a part of that garbage. So you get on a boat and you sail away to live on the ocean. And whenever you hit a town, for most of the towns, it's the oligarchy anyway. So you just raid it and you know,
sometimes
take off
you're a
whatever.
big evil clown.
Right. Sometimes
named
you're,
Buggy.
He's a doof. But where we are now, he's
past that.
Raditz in where we are now in Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Buggy comes back?
Yeah.
Okay,
dude,
sure. I've only read like the first couple volumes.
Buggy. But anyway, we're at an arc right now in which the Marines, which is the law, have decided we just need to make an example that pirates are not going to win. So they just pick a really popular pirate, pick him up and grab him and just say, cool, we're going to execute this guy.
Sure, yeah.
And just to make an example, he's broken laws. I'm sure he has.
Yeah,
you know
whatever.
what I mean? And this unifies a ton of pirates.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Shocking.
So anyway, all this to say that when there are things happening that exist only to better an oligarchical elite.
If the authority is doing something unjust.
If the authority is unjust, is then piracy just?
Does it justify a technically unjust response?
And so if somebody is saying to you, you will pay me $60 for permission to play my video game.
Yeah.
When in reality, it is a product that for decades of past has been, you can pay me $60 and own this video game.
Sure.
Now they want to remove ownership from you. Now they are like literally removing from you the possibility to own this product. Is piracy then just?
Yeah.
And so it's legitimately a question I'm wrestling with right now as Christians. Obviously,
it's a big thing.
Yeah, it's illegal.
Right.
Full stop.
It is. Yeah,
illegal.
that is the the undeniable part of it is that it is illegal. Let's kind of start at the beginning though of what kind of the evolution of our conversation. Greed is a moral concept.
Yes.
You'd agree?
Yeah.
It is something. I mean, it's not purely scriptural. That greed is a term used outside of that, of course, but greed does exist biblically. It's preached against and talked about a lot. Steve, as our resident theologian, can you give us a general idea of how is the concept of greed discussed in Scripture?
Yeah, so
obviously we can't go through the entirety of Scripture, but in general,
right.
Yeah.
So every single time greed is used in the Bible, here we go. Let's list them all. No, just kidding.
Sit tight.
So something that the Bible does really, really well is make distinctions between wanting things, having things, and taking things. There is our sinful nature is discussed a lot. We are not guilty because of a sinful nature. We are guilty because we give into a sinful nature. Ooh. We fall prey to it, and we all are going to. I'm not going to say we can't help it. We can help it, but also it is inevitable.
We have been shown that it's possible not to, but it's statistically speaking, impossible.
It's inevitable. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. So but on the other side, having things, there's something wrong with that. God himself is often described in metaphor as a rich young ruler or a
having the cattle on 1,000 hills.
Yeah, cattle on 1,000 hills. And then there's Joseph of Arimathea, who historically we've known was a very wealthy man. He gave his tomb to Jesus to be buried in, and that tomb was a very extravagant, large one that was only owned by the higher class. And yet, here's Jesus, or even when the woman pours oil on the feet of Jesus. Yeah. And Judas is like, that money could have been used to give to poor people
it's
or whatever.
It's pretty significant that it's Judas saying
I know, right? And so, but the reality is that Judas isn't wrong, right? That money could have been used
Yeah,
to give the poor
he is
people
correct.
or whatever else.
Yes.
But
Question
what
is motives,
Jesus is
but-
saying, yeah, well, but what Jesus says is like, hey, you don't know what's happening. The glory that's being given here, like the way that we glorify God is also important. So all this to say that having is not necessarily bad either.
Yeah.
It's what we do with what we have that
Right.
is important.
Right. In fact, God blesses people, his people with wealth.
With wealth.
Crazy
Yeah,
wealth.
absolutely.
Think Job. He takes it away and then gives it back tenfold.
And Solomon,
Yeah,
gives
right,
them wealth.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Not to be clear, not in a prosperity gospel way.
No.
Nope,
It's,
not
it's,
that,
it's,
to be
it's,
very
it is
clear,
something
yes.
that they do receive, but
Yes.
it's not a formula.
But what has been set apart is how we obtain it and why we obtain it.
Okay.
The motives and means in which we do these things. When we are oppressing other people to gain this, that is wrong. That when our gain comes at the expense of other people, in reality, our gain should be to the benefit of the people around us.
Right.
We can be wealthy, but if we're wealthy because if we're wealthy, that proves that we're probably very wise with our finances, and maybe those around us are not wise with our finances.
Maybe.
And therefore, well, again, these are the example of
These
the way
could
it's
be
supposed to
examples,
work here.
yes.
The way it's supposed to work is we are wealthy because we are wise with our finances, and then
Yes.
we can help those
That's
around
the
us who
hope.
have not been,
Yes.
and who are struggling in whatever way. And so that's not bad. But when we are doing it to the expense of other people, that is wrong. And if we are doing it exclusively for our own gain, again, it's not bad to gain or even to want gain. It's not bad to want to live a comfortable life. That's not bad or sinful or anything like that. But if we're doing it exclusively because of that, if I am gaining for no other reason than saying I don't want to have to work, I want to have to do as little as possible, that's when problems come in. So
Sure.
that's where things complicate here.
Yes.
Because as Jason Schreier was saying, so much of business today is non-emotional.
It's structurally
Yeah.
comprised of the effort to create wealth.
But it does it on its own. Like there usually is not a single mustache twirling person.
You're right. You're right.
Diving into dollars like Scrooge McDuck.
The part where I'll disagree is that, yes, you're right. It doesn't do it on its own, but it's not like the concept of the market system sprang out of nothingness at the moment of the creation of the universe.
Right.
It is a human directed system.
Yes.
The ways, the choices we make are what decide what is valuable, what creates wealth, what is the guiding principle of investing or whatever. But I agree. Like it's not as if there's one person saying now it's greedy, now it's not.
Right.
Deciding
It's,
those things.
the famous movie quote of Gordon Gekko is, greed, for lack of a better term, is a good thing. And his whole point being that when we are wanting to go gain more out there, it benefits our company, which benefits the employees, which benefits everything and whatever else.
Sure.
And that's just kind of the way we've established things. It's one of the reasons that I'll defend capitalism oftentimes, because we are just bad at it. Like, we've set it up to an oligarchical extent that the way that we have capitalism here is something that ends up oppressing a lower class and doing so within a cycle, and it really sucks. And
Which is why social democracy is
if you're the majority, yeah, that'd be great for minorities. Maybe not so much, but
I'm just saying, you just said that the system we have set up is benefiting
the way
rich.
that we have capitalism set up.
Yeah.
I think we need to rethink the way that we do
Socialism,
capitalism.
this is a different
It is a different conversation.
It is a different
Socialism
discussion.
is a benefit for the social majority. If you are not the social majority, especially within a melting pot of a country, it becomes real complicated then. But
it's a different discussion.
so, anyway, all this to say that we have established our companies in a way that they want to be successful. And so they just kind of work in a way, like Jason Schreier was talking about, how when a company goes public, it's not just one person anymore. It's tons of investors that are all out there, making decisions together or whatever else.
Well, yeah.
And so is greed the right term?
I think where the kind of fulcrum of how we decide, for me, is you said we've set up our businesses to we set up the system to want to be successful, and the definition of successful is the term there.
Yeah,
because I agree that it's like let's say it's like a 4-stroke engine, 4-cycle engine. It is just a system that was invented a long time ago, and has basically been used in almost every single vehicle for now. What's it been, like 125 years that we've had like the standard car? I mean, I obviously don't know the specifics about when the 4-stroke engine, but it's just kind of the standard system. But that system was designed to use fossil fuels.
Mm-hmm.
And it would feel weird to say, well, that's just how it is, so I guess we have to keep burning fossil fuels, when in reality, we know that there is a problem with that we need to look for alternatives. And so now we have like electric battery powered cars and other versions, better, more efficient, fuels and things like hybrid cars, things like that. We have set up a system that for a very long time, the operating term of what success is a line that always goes up on your numbers have to constantly always go up at as high a rate as humanly possible, as much money as possible has been the success
goal,
which leads to, I would say, a lot of the ills of the gaming industry.
Exactly. Yes, that I agree with. Yep.
It leads to mass layoffs. It leads to relying on things like AI, which leads to environmental degradation. It leads to things like creative output being wasted because you spent 6 years making a game that, because you were chasing a trend at 6 years ago, when it comes out, it's high guard and it dies in a month.
It's high guard, yeah.
Right. Like the game itself might not be bad, but because you were specifically chasing a trend and putting so much money into it, that it just fell apart.
Yep.
And now all of that wonderful creative output that genuine artists wanted to do or put time and effort into making is gone and dead. And these kind of human things like needing to pay rent and things like that are now difficult, and it leads to suffering. And so I have a hard time with the concept of greed not being the right word, because if the system suffered because, like, greed, the system doesn't just hurt the system itself when it doesn't work.
Yes.
It hurts human people.
Yes.
And so I think it's fair to use what Jason Schreier describes as a human term like greed to call it. It's a greedy system that then affects the human beings that have made the system.
Yes.
That support the system.
But I think where I struggle with that, I actually agree with everything you say, but in your description, who is greedy? The system is greedy. We can't point our fingers at anybody. Like, we can't.
I think we can. I think we can point our fingers at the board of directors of a company. I think we can point our fingers at the executives of a company who have decided your number one goal at Xbox is to make the line go up as fast as possible, instead of saying, hey, let's make the line go up, maybe not as fast as possible, but in a way that means we don't have to fire 3,200 people, or in a way that doesn't degrade the planet through unethical technological systems that we use, or doesn't shut down creative studios that we purchased and promised a life of, like, there are decisions being made to do things
right
that the system can't do on its own. AI, like, it's like our conversation about AI. AI is a system. It's a thing that is always directed. And it'd be like saying, no, it's the AI itself that's the problem, when without human interaction, it just sits there and does nothing.
My struggle is the alternative. And I'm certain there's a middle ground here. I don't know what it would be. Maybe there isn't. Maybe I'm lying to myself. But my point being that if you were to say, okay, we are actually going to sacrifice the line going up, and we're going to have the line maybe even still go up,
yeah,
just go up at a slower, more moderate way. and not do all of these very unethical things, but then you lose your investors. Your investors who have been giving you millions, if not billions of dollars, are now saying, hey, you're not making my line go up that much anymore, so I'm putting my money somewhere else. And then your customers realize you are now putting out a lesser product than you used to be. And your customers who don't care what you're doing behind the scenes, let's be clear, you and I are probably the minority in video game purchasing. The majority are going to see game, buy game, and that's all they really care about. Is game
Actually,
good, is game
the
bad?
statistically we've learned that majority of people, you and I, buy a lot more games than
Yes,
most
yes,
people
that's
do.
true, actually.
Most
That's a good
people, and I
point.
don't know if it's because of environmental or ethical reasons, but I think it's mostly pricing reasons. But we tend to buy more games than most people do.
But my point is the majority of income they are getting is probably from people just buying games. People just want to buy games and they care if the game is good or not. And now these people are seeing, no, their games are not as good as they used to be. I'm going to buy from somebody else. And so now you have less investors and now you have less customers. And now you have this studio over here that's put out 3 flops in a row.
Sure.
And yes, they're artists. And yes, they're making art. And maybe they're making good art. But we are giving them money and they are not returning any of that at all. In fact, we are exclusively giving them. They are returning less than we are giving. What do you do? Like you can't just, and so the alternative there is, and this is why I'm saying, like, it's hard to point fingers at individuals here because that's just the way the system is set up, where sure, it'd be wonderful if Xbox or Sony or whatever went out there and said, we are exclusively doing things ethically from now on.
Yeah.
And here's how we are doing it. But if that line does not go up at a certain rate, if it starts to dip, that dip's going to become a cascade.
Oh, sure. No, it's going to fold in on itself. And I would
Right.
say that's a direct result of people having greedy intentions.
But that's
There's-
many people. That's
look,
society.
Yeah. I mean, we don't disagree.
Yeah.
I agree. I'd say it's a core issue of humanity that we are unwilling to move slow or unwilling to go with less than we possibly could.
A million percent. Yes.
There is an aspect of there's a relatively new thing in the realm of investment called ESG investing, environmental, social, and governance.
monosudoglutamate investing.
Yep.
Where you want things to be really delicious.
When you want it to be just extra flavorful and demonized in the 90s.
ESG investing, go ahead.
Because of racism. ESG, environmental, social, and governance. It's basically looking at investing and trying to choose companies that are specifically using ethical, functioning ethically in the way that they treat the environment, in the way that they treat social issues, in the way that they treat their employees in their governance. And it is by nature, as you might imagine, less profitable if you are specifically investing in those kinds of companies, because it's taken into account. It's like the idea of chocolate. Chocolate, if you don't know, is a very large driver of modern day slavery. The growing and harvesting of cacao,
chocolate and coffee, both.
Yeah, 100%,
Yeah.
because they're extremely popular.
Yeah.
So when you look for ethically made chocolate or coffee, expect to pay a lot more money, like double or triple for more money. I would say it's also usually better chocolate,
Yes.
higher quality, so you're going to get a good trade-off. And it just, the problem comes when we're asking people to go with less than they're used to. I wouldn't even say it's less than we're used to. I have been trying to teach myself this idea, trying to change my viewpoint, my tendencies over the last couple of years of, I used to, there are other aspects of, like, I have a kid now, don't have the same time, and I don't have the same income, like money to spend because I stopped doing some things. But there was a time where if there was a game I was remotely interested in, I would say 40% interested in, I'd put it on my list of games I'm going to buy this year. And I would play. You can go back to our channel, our old YouTube channel, and see if there was a big game coming out that year, I would probably play it. If it was in any realm of something I'm interested in. And now it's, okay, I have to plan with a much smaller amount of money. And also, I'm not going to play probably most of the games that I would like to play. And I'm not trying to say that I'm very privileged in this place where, like we said, I play a lot more games than most people when they launch. But I've been trying to get on this idea of, okay, what if I just did less? Will my life actually fall apart? Will I suffer? No.
Yes. Oh.
Well, a little bit. I haven't played the new 007 game, and it looks pretty good, and I want to, so I am suffering a little bit there, for sure. I have to be in dumb Italy next week, and I won't be able to play this video game. My life is terrible.
I'm sure James Bond goes to Italy sometimes.
And I understand where you're coming from. I agree with you. I get it. Like, it is a system. I can't necessarily point at the system and say it's all wrong, because I understand that there are other, like, the alternative would be, it feels like a problem too big to handle. It's a problem on the scale of, I mean, I'm not trying to say it's equal to sin, but the idea of regulation, rules, things like these don't change people's hearts. That is an internal change. And so when we point at the system, we're pointing at something kind of entirely different than the idea of heart change, because this is a human-made system of rules and regulations versus a person's internal spiritual being, you know? But I thought it was interesting. Now, how do we factor in this idea of more and more, I don't know if we can use objective, but seemingly objective ways that the video game industry is just straight up unethical, consumer hostile.
Yeah.
Hostile to the consumer experience.
Absolutely, yes.
The big one is, of course, Sony's announcement. No more discs. I will be shocked if Xbox does not follow.
Right.
That Sony was the first one that did it. Now Xbox will be like, cool. They're already.
I mean,
it's
Xbox already
bad
tried
news.
to do it, and they were lambasted for
true.
it. Like Sony made fun of them for it. Sony had their higher ups make commercials about handing physical discs to each other,
Man.
and now here they are like, we're not making physical.
If you
discs
compare
anymore.
today's video game industry culture to even 15 years ago, it's wild how different things are. It feels like the rate of attitudes about pricing and things. You remember when Xbox revealed the price of the Xbox One, I believe it was, and then and they explained why, and they had the always online thing and all these other things, and then all Sony did was say, "Hey, it's $100 less for the PS," and that was all they had to do, and they just dominated for PS4, dominated the industry. And now we look back at that and say, that's quaint. Everybody is doing everything Xbox was already doing. It's so the Overton window is shifting constantly. But we're getting into the realms of this is just blatantly consumer hostile. So how do we take this idea of greed and the idea of ethical consumption how do we take that into account when it comes to these new announcements?
I am wrestling with this, so I'm not going to give an answer as much as here's what I'm thinking about this, man.
Yeah.
This is what I have been thinking. On one side of things, it has been known for a long time that making video games, the physical copies of them, is not overly profitable.
No, of course not.
I know that at GameStop, we had a 20% margin on new games. Yeah. And that's why we had to have a 50 plus margin on our used games. Otherwise it wouldn't have existed.
Right.
And so I understand that making games is expensive. It costs money to hire artists to make the cover and make the whatever art's on top of the game, to manufacturers to print the papers and make the discs, distributors to mail
all
things
the stores.
everywhere. Yes, I understand that there's so
your
much
hardware
that goes into
has to have a system to play those things, which makes the hardware production more expensive.
And we as gamers have been so privileged to use that word that video games have been, I'm not going to say inflation proof, but inflation resistant to a huge extent.
The exception.
Yes.
In the realm of inflation.
Yes.
It's how is this not
games are supposed to be
$150?
$150, $200 these days if they had followed
unless you're in Australia,
inflation.
that's not the case.
Yeah. what like inflation from the 80s when the physical copies
Sure.
were mostly coming out. Like it should be way more expensive than it is for us now, and instead it's gone up $20 or $30,
Right, yeah.
and that's about it.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where okay, I actually kind of get it. I do get it where this is an aspect of video game creating that is not very profitable, and you can stand to benefit both consumer
It's
and
not shocking
creator.
that they would want to do that.
Right. But I genuinely think the alternative should have been we are shipping every PlayStation with a 2 terabyte hard drive, and you can purchase the game and download it onto a hard drive. Like instead of weird.
I see. You
Yes.
can a removable hard drive that is your copy still.
Yes.
You just don't have a physical one. We
Yeah.
have no access to it after it's been put on the hard drive.
Exactly.
We cannot delete it off
Yes,
there.
and we're not going to be checking in to
Yeah,
like, hey,
right.
are you connected to the internet?
Yeah, 100%.
anymore? You know, things
Yeah.
like that. Like, what's that? Your internet is out? That's fine. You have a downloaded copy of the game on the hard drive.
Yeah, interesting.
And, you know, for so many people that those 2 terabytes or whatever are going to fill up real quick, and they got to buy some other external storage on their own.
Sure.
But that's just the nature of the beast
Sure.
now. You know, that's the way it's going to be, unfortunately. And
I mean, you can fill up a hard drive either way.
right.
Yeah.
But this is a decision to say, no, we are leasing the games to the players.
Now, to be fair, they could do that. They haven't like announced the PlayStation 6. They haven't said PlayStation 6 always online, constant DRM, and no discs. They've said no discs. Now, would it be surprising
Yes.
if they did what you're talking about? Absolutely. Do not expect that. That would be wild. But they could still technically. Hey, think about the poor CEOs, okay? All right? They could do the right thing.
Here's the truth, and I honestly think that they should, and I'm getting a little off topic here, but still, I think they should take a lesson from sports. And believe it or not, in sports, the players don't make most of their money from playing their sport.
Yeah, tie-in deals. And
They make most of their money from
advertising.
advertising and sponsorships and all this other stuff. That's where they get most of their money from.
Sure.
If you hear about Shohei Ohtani signing a $700 million contract, that means he's making that much more money from Nike and whoever else, whatever.
Because he's making he has other contracts that
Yes.
are part of his contract at the MLB, I
Exactly.
assume, and the money is not simply coming from the MLB. I would
Right.
assume. Yeah.
Video game companies are terrified of piracy, and so that's why they want to do all the DRM. If they had done my thing, in the back of their brain there would be this insane fear of, okay, what if everybody just connects their hard drives and they just
Copy and paste.
copy and paste their game onto somebody else's hard drive?
Which,
or
to be
whatever
fair,
else.
a lot of people would.
A lot of people
Yeah.
would, and so make the game and then start selling t-shirts and plush and as much other stuff as humanly
Native
possible.
advertising in the games,
Yes,
Alan Wake style,
have
Final Fantasy 15
yes,
style.
and if people say this sucks, then say,
it's because of
hey, bud, this is the nature of the beast right now, man. This is what we
a
have
real
to do.
hot take there,
If
Steve.
legitimately, if you're in there and your tent says cup of noodles on it and somebody says that feels gross, then say, would you rather have DRM though? Would you rather be connected to the internet all the time, always?
But they've already shown they'll do both. Like, it's not like this is new.
I'm saying
Our
I wish
examples
they would
are
do
real.
this. I wish they would do that.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying.
we're wish casting,
But they're
here.
not. Instead, they are so scared of piracy that they are now exclusively benefiting themselves and harming the customer for it. And it is exclusively to their profit. And at that point, I am genuinely wrestling with this idea, then is piracy ethical? If there is a system set up that exclusively is meant to exploit me and my purchases in quotes, I guess, in this case, then
you're purchasing rights to play a game until
then
they say you can't.
is it then no longer unethical for me to seek ways to balance that oppression?
let's have a little bit of a debate here then.
Yeah.
No. Or yes, it is still unethical.
Okay.
And I'm taking into account like the idea of what you're saying. I don't want to just say, let's have a debate. The law says this, so I win. You know, let's actually divorce the law here from this.
Yes.
Like the ethical, moral concept. Still unethical because it is not necessary for you to buy a video game. I would say, the classic is, should you steal bread to feed your starving family?
Right.
Pretty fair to say. Even like the Lord set up the idea of, no, leave the edges of your fields, so that people who need food can glean food off the edge of your fields. Like, people need food to eat. They should be able to access it without having to pay for it.
Right.
So I think fair enough. I think we should be able to say, yes, if it's food, if it's water, if it's shelter, we should be able to say you'd be able to have that without having to like pay for it. That's an argument that I think is fairly agreeable. A video game is none of those.
Right.
I'm not trying to degrade the idea of entertainment. I do think fun and entertainment and joy, which can come from those things, especially in a communal concept, is great and wonderful and necessary for human flourishing.
Yeah.
We're talking about hierarchy of needs here.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say, if you're stealing that thing that is in no way necessary for your life, it is not, the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs of those, like, to live, for your body to not go into fight or flight mode, it's still unethical. It's a luxury that you really want and maybe have had for your whole life. You will be okay without it. And I would say it's still unethical.
Yes, we would be okay without it, but there is still a culture of quote unquote how this works. And, what if car companies started saying, you're just leasing the car from us from this point forward. At any point, if we decide that you are not wearing a Toyota t-shirt or whatever, then I can go to your house and take that car back
Vehicle
away from
DRM,
you.
they have a camera watching in the car.
Or, again,
and we'll just shut down the computer that drives your car. Like,
exactly,
you can do that.
We don't need your car, or you don't need your car. There's public transportation.
Yeah,
there's local
you
business.
can walk.
There's plenty of other options for
Uber.
Things like that. Or, same thing with like streaming services or whatever else. What if at any point they said we need to be able to access, like, you cannot deny any of our malware, or not malware, spyware and stuff like that. Like, you cannot
updates and
you cannot deny any of
bloatware.
That. Otherwise, we're going to pull all of this from you.
Yeah.
Again, then it's like, no, I'm giving you $15. You're giving me access to this. This is the balance that we have set up. This is the culture we have created within this product. And for you to now tell me that I don't have access to this, I'm giving you my money. You have, that this is money in exchange for products and services. But it's not that anymore. It's money for permission. It's not an exchange. It is that's what it is right there. It is no longer an exchange.
It's an exchange for something different. And it's not. Yes, you're right. It's not an exchange for a physical product that you can have. Or PlayStation could update their software and say, hey, because we've made a change to Spider-Man 2. Any disc you put in your thing without this update will not work. That's already a thing that could happen. So even now, the physical object is not really the key that we want it to be. It feels nice to have, but they could brick your PlayStation if you don't have the correct software update. We're still kind of like asking for permission.
Let me clarify something.
I just want to say, like, we would still be exchanging money for the rights to play this game with a contract that says until we say not to, and the 5,000 word essay of more than that probably of the the end user license, the EULA. Like, you're already we would still be exchanging for something. It's just less permanent feeling.
Let me clarify something here. And that's, I should have said this before. I'm not arguing from the aspect of Steve. I agree with you on Steve.
100%.
Steve
We're
does not
hypothetical
need any of
here.
this stuff, man. I've got a gigabit, streaming. I'm thinking of like, what about little Bobby, who's in an internet-starved area,
Sure.
and his internet's real spotty, man, and he is able to download that game, but then right when it's done downloading, his internet goes out, and now he is giving you $60, and he doesn't have a game. He has no access to this. It's not his fault. It's not anybody's fault. It's just the nature of his being. What if it's a place that just doesn't have internet anymore? What if what if your mom can't pay her internet bill anymore? The ISPs are infamously predatory.
Predatory and homogenous. And,
yes, like they're awful. And so what about all of these people who have existed in a consumer culture that has said, I give you money, you give me video game for so many years, a underprivileged mom who's able to walk into a GameStop, buy a game for her boy,
a used game,
and come home for her kid or whatever else.
Right.
And so now she buys the code to this game.
Yeah.
She comes home, the kid downloads it, and the internet goes out, or she can't pay her bill anymore. And now she has given money in exchange for nothing at all.
You no longer have access to the thing you paid money for.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
To me, piracy feels ethical in that situation. Like, it feels like if she had the opportunity to say, you know what, I can get my boy this game, and I don't have to worry about paying $80.
Well, as long as she puts $80 in an envelope and mails it to Sony
and sits on it for a little while, then make sure the boy plays the game all the way through, whatever else. Like we are privileged to be able to say, yeah, man, I have access to the internet all the time, high speed internet. It's great. I got no problem at all. Yeah, dude, I'm just gonna use Steam then. I may not buy the PS6. I may just be a Steam guy from now on.
Yeah.
And this is going to be just fine for me. Not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But for so many people in not just the world, in our country, in our state even.
Sure.
There's plenty of rural areas here in Oregon.
Internet might exist, but if you want to play Fortnite, can it sustain a Fortnite match that lasts 45 minutes or whatever?
No, your ping is 1,000 and it's no longer milliseconds. It's just seconds, man.
Right? It's just like, okay, I'm playing my game of Fortnite is now a PowerPoint slideshow.
Stop motion presentation.
Stop motion animation for Fortnite.
And so
you're just sending emails for what you do, like people playing chess.
In these situations, these people, so many people who love and play video games and want to support the arts, that there's going to be so many instances where it's no longer an exchange.
I guarantee
they give money and they don't get anything back.
I guarantee that there has been, obviously, this conversation at Sony. This conversation of, well, they do have stats. I think it's something around 80 to 90% of purchases, like the vast majority are digital purchases, digital downloads. I think those numbers are not, I think that is what they've said. I think that's like a little disingenuous because it also includes things like DLC and stuff that's not necessarily ever printed physically, where you'd have to buy a whole new copy of the game. You can't just go buy I can't walk into GameStop and unless I'm getting a digital download, maybe I can buy Witcher 3 and I can buy Witcher 3 Complete Edition. I can't buy Blood and Wine or Hearts of Stone, like the DLC individually. And so I have to buy that digitally.
Blood in the Sand.
But if you, oh man, the greatest game. Wasn't there a sequel to that game?
That is the sequel.
Was it?
Yeah, there was a 50-cent game and then it was 50 Cent Blood in the Sand.
Man. We need more 50-cent games. There are things that are included in that stat of like this many that literally don't have physical, like you can't just go buy it specifically. So yes, of course it's going to be in the digital and a lot of those things, or if I'm paying for like the battle pass on Fortnite, obviously that's a digital purchase.
Right.
So they've had those conversations though of what are we going to lose? They have done an over under what is gained, what is lost here. And I mean, I think we can only assume that the line goes up more than it, like if we continue, the line goes up probably less. And if we make this switch, sure, we're gonna have some loss, but because our production costs go down, Like that's what it's always about, and that's why I feel like I can argue the greed aspect
And
of
I was
it.
going to say exactly that this comes all the way back around to that biblical definition of greed. It's
Right.
gain at the expense
Gain
of
at
other
the
people.
expense of people who would like to enjoy the art that's been created,
Yeah.
and that you are now wrestling away from people through the means that have no. You can write a letter to Sony, they're not going to read it. It's not going to do anything. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like I would be, with the backlash, I'd be surprised if there wasn't some middle ground. If they don't find some, you can buy module, it plugs into the system. It's a disk drive. It costs $700 or something like it's ridiculously expensive, but you can. And then we've teamed up with Limited Run Games. They're going to produce all of our Sony exclusives on physical discs. And yes, there's a way for you to play games physical. Third parties, you can produce games if you want.
Right.
It's up to you. If it's just us, we'll do our own. You can play physical games on the PS6. It will be ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
They're prohibitive.
You're welcome.
Expensive.
Yeah, right. So where it's just like, okay, I guess I'll go digital only. You and I actually have, I have existed basically in a digital only gaming space since the PlayStation dropped. I bought a digital PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
I have a I have an Xbox S. The only system I have a PS4, but that's basically my DVD machine now, like my DVD player. And I have a Switch. I can put things in
the Switch is the only game that I still consistently specifically buy physical copies.
Yeah.
Like I'll get physical copies for my PS5 when I can because I prefer them, but if I download it because I'm lazy and I don't want to go to the store, that's fine too.
100%.
But the Switch, I just may be traveling somewhere that doesn't have the internet.
I do have yes, I do have some regrets at this point, very little, but there's a library near us, not in our county, but a different one that has a library of video games. And I'm like, cool, I can play 007. Oh, no, I can't play 007. What Switch games do they have that I can borrow? And they've got a good amount, but I can't play those games. I can't borrow that from my local library because I'll just throw it at my PlayStation 5 and it'll break because I can't play it. But that's been part of my solution. If we want to talk about what do we do? What can we do? This is where the kind of change comes in to maybe part of mine is I've been trying to accept the idea that, yes, I am taking in some pretty big negatives to the idea of digital only. Yeah, maybe they'll shut down tomorrow because for Sony, that's going to be more profitable. And I will be very sad and very disappointed and then say, okay, I'll just play games on my 4 other video game systems. Again, privilege here. But I still don't know if I can say we should pirate games. I'm still not there. You seem to be closer to it than I am.
I will say, Christian humans, but especially Christians out there, be discerning and be honest with yourself. If you were in a place like me where you don't have to care about any of this, just buy the game or don't buy the game. Vote with your wallet is what it's a huge thing that we say all the time is vote with your wallet.
Vote with your wallet.
And that is, if they do this, the PS6 will be the first Sony console I don't own.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
And I just won't support it. And proudly so.
Recognize when you're dealing with FOMO.
Yeah. Yeah.
When, hey, I understand you want to play GTA 6 a lot. It's huge. It's going to be massive. It's probably going to be a great game. It's probably going to be really good. It's going to be okay if you don't play it.
Yeah.
You'll miss out. You will miss out. That's going to be okay. You're going to be okay if you don't play it. Recognize when it is FOMO, when you just want to be catching up or keeping up with the Joneses, as they say.
Yeah.
And maybe start to understand it's okay if you don't do everything all the time.
But from Steve's perspective,
those
I
are
will
digital.
say,
they're all going to be digital only anyways.
From Steve's perspective, if you're being honest with yourself and you were saying, I am in an area in which I can't just do Steam all the time. My internet's not that reliable.
Yeah.
I have been living on physical games my entire life. And now, I'd really like to get a PS6 and be able to play some games or whatever else. Consoles are the way that I can play games because, again, my internet's great enough to do Steam or whatever else. And you're like, it would be great if I could attempt and test and try and to make sure that this game is going to successfully play before I spend money on it, I would say use your personal ethics, but were I would almost definitely pirate it, make sure it works, and if and when it does, then buy it. I would encourage that. Of if you go and you successfully do this, and if it's working out just fine, hey, be honest, be a good Christian, and go.
This is always 100%.
But if you do this, and the DRM and the fact that your internet's spotty and all this crap just makes it unplayable, delete, and you didn't lose out on anything.
Sure.
And that's a fair exchange, I would say.
Also, remember you might have a backlog.
Yeah.
If you have a PlayStation 5, there's a lot of games you can go play. You can
Yes.
get now that you haven't played that are great. In fact, I would say it's an argument in the fact of the rising costs is kind of PlayStation saying, no, play the games that already exist that are $20. Like,
Yeah.
don't buy this new one.
That's actually
the
a
old
great
game.
point.
Like, there's lots of other games that you haven't played that
There
are great.
Thousands, if not maybe millions,
thousands of games out
of
there.
classic games on various consoles that you
Right,
could go buy
100%.
or whatever else.
Yeah, there's always an option for a game that you haven't played. I
yeah,
guarantee it. That you'll probably really like.
yeah.
So there are options out there. Let's just not kid ourselves into thinking we're necessarily going to be some kind of Robin Hood.
Yes,
Our
agreed.
motives need to always be checked.
Yes,
Have somebody be accountable to somebody. Talk through it with somebody if you're feeling nervous about it. It's like any kind of like day-to-day living thing.
but like, I mean, another weird tangent here: modern gangs. If we take a look and people are like, okay, who forms gangs or mafias? It's Catholics, Italians, Irish people, and people of color.
Okay.
Black people, Mexicans. Those are really common, gangs.
I don't know. I'd say the
organized
KKK
crime,
is a gang.
Things like that. Yeah, not enough people would agree. But anyway, so this was because there was a time in which these were all oppressed people groups, oppressed by the law itself as well, that it was supported that these were lesser or people undeserving of law, and therefore these communities had to form their own sort of like cultural standing of this is literally historical.
No, I understand.
Like,
I'm just saying comparing this to video game piracy is a bit of a thin ice argument, I think.
My point being that when a culture exists to oppress you specifically, you have to form your own culture of laws and morality.
Sure.
And that's what happened for a lot of people. Yes, it's a stretch to compare
It's a
those
bit of a
two
stretch,
things.
but on the whole, I understand the idea.
Yes, at the same time, if it is a system that exists to oppress you specifically, and you therefore have to find a way to create your own culture of standards and morals and whatnot, create that morally within your mind, stick to that honestly, but maybe it won't be as legal as the oppressive system is saying what is legal. That would be my opinion on that, I think. Yeah.
All this is coming. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a lot of cringe, squint, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's honestly, that's a lot of life, and video games are what we talk about. So.
And that's where it is right now too. We're in just this really weird. We've talked about before the relationship between gamers and video games are a very unique relationship of consumer and creator because we are consuming art and we have a sort of conversation with the artist in a way that no other art has. I've said a million times, I think video game is the highest form of art because the experiencer of the arts is literally within it. It's literally like controlling it. They are a part of the art. They are becoming part of it. And the story that is told is one they are interacting with in a unique way. And therefore we have this unique controller as consumer to creator.
Yeah.
It's not just, I want to buy.
There's a little more of a gray area.
Yeah, that really is. And so, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We've talked a lot. Let's move on. But before we do so, I want to talk to you really quick about Save Point Ministries because
again,
I know, I'm so sorry. My son has a D&D group. D&D is the one that we talk about usually because it's one that is physical and the one that gets people together most often. And my son has a D&D group that had to stop meeting for a while because one kid started baseball, my daughter started track, and so we had things going on Tuesdays, and then my son actually joined the tech team in for theater, and so like we had to stop it, and so for like 3 months they weren't meeting. Yesterday was the first time we had the whole crew back
The
together
whole squad.
in months. All 5 players back at the table again, and it was a blast. We had a really great time. A lot of laughing, a lot of joking around the table. Finally getting everybody back together was such a good time. And it was just, I mean, my son games with these guys a lot. You know, he'll play with them in Minecraft or in Roblox, or I guess he doesn't do Roblox that much anymore, but in Minecraft, mostly he's gaming online with these guys. But to finally get everybody back together in a physical space to laugh and to have them throw dice at each other and bother each other because 4 or 5 have ADHD and they're all squirrely and whatnot. It was awesome. It was genuinely awesome and so much fun to have this incarnate community of people back together again, gaming together again. If you are somebody who would love an incarnate community of gamers, who would love to see you after a time of absence, who love it when you are there, and who just want you to be a part of community with them, we want to find you a place like that, but not just any place. We want to find you a church like that. We want to find you a place that will love you and support you and be with you through the hard times, pray for you, but then also game with you on Tuesday nights.
Sure.
And, have a great time. If you're looking for a place like this, we want to help you at Save Point Ministries. You can head over to savepointministries.com. There's a little find a church button. You can click that, or you can join our Discord. There should be some links in the show notes and whatnot here. And in our Discord, there's a find a church channel, and you can get started with the steps to plug into a place like that. All right, Fox, what have you been up to, my friend?
Last night, I'm not sure if you have, but I finished the last season of The Bear.
I gave up after season 2, which was really nice and really relaxing.
Season 2 is by far the best season.
And then they did the Christmas episode, and it was all the stress over again.
It's such a good episode.
And it is. It's a very good episode, but as somebody with an anxiety disorder, I don't need it in my fiction too, man. I don't need it in my fiction too.
I mean, to be honest, that's a fine place to stop.
Yeah.
You're missing the plot, obviously, of a lot of stuff that happens, but it peaks in season 2. And season, I guess this would be 5? Season 5. Wow. I'm glad it's done. The whole show as a whole was too much of a roller coaster. And I mean that even like character arc wise.
Okay.
Actually, not even that. I would say in the like writing pacing wise. It felt like things were stretched out too long. 3 and 4 felt like they should have been shrunk down into one season. Season 5 was interesting. It basically the whole season was 8 episodes, and it was essentially one day of like a huge, I don't want to spoil anything, but a huge, like a very important day of service at the restaurant. And it just kind of the entire day and all the things that go wrong and then all the things that go right and all this stuff. The show thrives on the great characters, and then, the humor is pretty good, but it felt like it peaked in season 2 and then tried to hold on too long. And I think it was also denigrated by the fact that several of the main characters started blowing up, getting more roles.
Literally exploding.
You got to watch out for that, man.
So much gore.
It was gross.
Like getting movies.
There's a lot of shrapnel when the thing blew up that one time. Being in all kinds of stuff.
Being
like
the Thing.
Yeah, he is the Thing. What's his name? Jeremy Allen White is getting in a lot of stuff right now. He was Road to the Hut. He literally got bigger in that one. And it felt like the last season was shorter than usual. Episodes were like 20 minutes long for the most part, and then they got a little longer at the end. But it felt like, well, we have to have a shorter contract because everybody else's schedules are filling up, And so I'm glad it's done, but it should have been a shorter show. On the whole, though, I really enjoyed The Bear. I would look. It's like watching the Hobbit movies, where you're like, this would be great if it was cut down by a lot.
Yeah.
You could really like laser in on these arcs that they go through, the actual story and the arcs of the characters in the bear. I'm glad I'm done though. Like yesterday, I texted Faith early in the morning. I was like, I just want to finish the show.
Can I hate
and I'm did
it?
no. Well, I kind of went into it. The last few episodes are great. Like they were the best of the season and maybe like up there for the entire show. But up until then, it felt like a slog. Like, let's just finish it. We're this deep in. Like, there's nothing else we're watching right now. So anyway, The Bear, real mixed bag, but definitely worth watching the first 2 seasons out of 5.
I have done a lot. I feel like we haven't podcasted it in like months because there's so many things that I have done that I want to talk about.
Yeah, same.
Real quick, I'm going to toss out. We watched Supergirl.
Yeah, we did.
It was fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah. It's one of those 5-iest fives that ever fived for me.
Sure.
And just, it's getting a lot of hate that is unfair. It's getting a lot of hate that is honestly kind of fair.
Metacritic is like mid-50s, I think, and I think that's correct.
Yeah.
I would agree with it.
Yeah.
Supergirl is the highlight. Everything else is like, eh.
Lobo was my highlight. I loved Lobo so much, man. I really did. Jason Momoa is equal to Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. Jason Momoa.
Sure, I would say it's a very appropriate
is
casting.
The best.
The very appropriate casting. He kind of felt like, well, he's here too, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess he's here.
I loved it, man. Anyway, what I want to talk about is I read The Throne of Glass, the first book in the Throne of Glass series. This is a long YA, or at least I was told by the person who recommended it to me, the first 2 books begin very YA. And then it kind of grows up with you.
Oh, okay.
Almost like the Potter novels.
Sure, yeah.
Where like it gets past that. And so I'm like, okay, I'm into that. I'll try this. And it's a really interesting book in that it's high fantasy, but it is not about a young farm girl being discovered as the chosen one or whatever else. It begins much more in media res, in as much as she is already known as the greatest assassin that this whole land has ever known.
Sure.
But she was caught and has been in prison for a year. And it begins with her being released from prison. No training montage, no like anything. She's already incredible. We already know she's the best. We already know she's outstanding. What is different now is she is being released in prison because the oppressive king that imprisoned her decides now he wants her as his assassin. And she is like balancing this, like, I hate this man. I hate this man so much. Like, do I really want to do this? And at the same time, she's been in prison for a year. She is emaciated.
Don't like that either.
Weak. She is, really struggling. And so it's her getting back to strength. There is a bit of, there are 2 boys. Which boy will she end up with? Ooh, that YA stuff that I get ignored or that I get annoyed with, but that we'll push past. This book does a really good job of making that important. There is, and you pick up on this pretty quick, so minorest of spoilers, but there begins a possible romance with her and the prince. And there's this whole thing of like, sure, it's a boy and they're flirting and whatever, why, but also, hey, this is the son of the man that you deeply, deeply hate. Also, he's a prince. He can't marry an assassin / former prisoner. This isn't a will they, won't they. This is a should they, shouldn't they. And like, they play into those politics within their relationship a lot, within their friendship, within their flirting, within moments of she then catches him flirting with other princesses because he has to, because he's the prince. That's his job, is to, find a princess someday.
What a great job.
And like, it just, there's like so much that goes on with this that plays into the more important political aspect of the overarching story that made me care more about the boys that she likes than I would in any other
Sure, it's not just about the romance. It's about
exactly. And so I was really impressed. The book's really good. And if it just gets better from here, I'm really, really excited to keep reading. So that's The Throne of Glass.
All right.
The book.
Now, do you think the throne, is there a literal throne of glass?
This is a castle that was then extended with glass steel. It is glass that
Glass
is made
steel.
that is, well, sorry,
Now,
that's
would
my
you say
word.
this is a fantasy series or
That's glass steel is
steel?
actually a D&D term.
Oh,
That's
it's-
essentially what it is. It's glass that is as strong as steel
Okay.
and made like iron.
Sure.
But she is terrified of it because she's like, it's glass. You want to put me in the tower of glass? This is stupid. What are
Yeah.
you talking? Anyway, but yeah,
That's
so
fine.
like, but yes, there is a literal throne of glass.
All right. It's going to shatter, I bet.
Oh, absolutely yes.
She's going to find the,
This
glass steel breaking knife.
Chekhov's glass. Chekhov's castle of glass.
Classic.
Anyway, what's brought you to worship, my friend?
I've been reading a book called Orbital by Samantha Harvey. I'm a good...
That's an 11-speed MVP disc. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a book about that. No, it's a book. I guess it's science fiction technically because it's not about real people. So far, I'm 4 or 5 chapters in. I literally was just on like Libby and I was like, something that's available before I get the next book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series from you. So I'm reading this now, and I'm 29. I'm looking at Libby, 29% of the way through. It is about a day in the life of 6 astronauts aboard the ISS, the International Space Station, and just. It is largely kind of a poetic, like, exploration of what it's like to live, like, falling. The space station is technically falling at all times.
Right.
Around the orbit of the Earth, and you're circling the globe 16 times a day, and how that, like, affects your view of what it means to be a human and live on the Earth, and what you're doing while you're in space. And the things that happen with your loved ones on Earth while you are like the most unreachable possible place, and just people's attitudes. And like, it's a very beautiful, it goes on these long, like, soliloquies essentially about the beauty of Earth, or the mundaneness of living like after you're there for a while. You just get into these routines of, even though for all of the rest of us, it's like this crazy thing, you're living in space. After you're there for a while, it's just like, yeah, I'm going to get up, do my exercises, do my experiments, eat at this time, then go to sleep, and I'll wake up and do these things. Like, there's just these, every minute of your day is planned out, whilst also looking out the window and seeing the most spectacular views of all time, and
can't even
seeing
imagine.
the universe spread out before you. And like, it's a fascinating novel, I guess. It feels like a documentary, kind of, because it's not at all like, there's no plot, so to speak, other than here's what they're doing. Here's some things that they're kind of like contemplating. And it puts perspective, like, of the human perspective of existence. Like, it feels like it gets into the existential terror / joy we can feel when we consider who we are in our place in the world, and if we were created or are an accident, or how all of these things come into play. And it's just made me like the worship, in the sense of the beauty of what God has created, the joy in knowing that I am loved and was created with purpose, and still the fear I can feel of how things are far outside my control, and just all of these things that the humans experience, even knowing that there is a loving God. Like, it's a fascinating book. And you want to know what sold it for me to read?
What?
It was recommended by Stephen Colbert.
Ah, that's a good reason.
It was on Stephen Colbert's like recommended of this year or whatever, and I was like, all right, sure. So I'm reading that, and then I'll jump back into the fantasy candy of Dungeon Crawler Carl. The farthest away tonally you can get. It's going to be Whiplash.
And you remember I already gave that to you, right?
Yes, I have it.
Okay,
Yeah,
good,
right.
Okay.
I got it before you gave it to me.
Yeah, okay. I watched a movie called I Am Frankelda, actually titled Soy Frankelda.
Okay.
This is a Mexican stop motion film. It is 2 hours long, which for a stop motion film
almost a record, I think.
is crazy.
Yeah.
The basic story in itself is simple, cute, kind of folklore-ish. The writing's not the best. The premise of it all is there is a girl named Francesca who is loves writing, is incredibly creative, but she's also just kind of an emo kid. She's got her writing's very dark and very emotional, and she seems to like in touch with fear itself and like understanding of fear and what makes people afraid of things. Because that she doesn't have a lot of friends. She feels kind of separate. Then there's another world called the Land of Horrors, and this is the land of horrific creatures, but their job is to inhabit the nightmares of humans, to make sure that we have a healthy understanding of fear, but also to give us creativity and that action and whatnot, blah blah blah. Like, it's a good thing. They're terrifying, but it's a good thing. They have a writer who writes the nightmares. He is also wanting to start a coup. He wants to take over, but also he has lost his passion. He's bad at his job now. His nightmares have not been actually scaring the humans. And so the prince of the Land of Horrors goes to the surface, meets Francesca, reads her writing, thinks it's incredible, and brings her spirit, her ghost, which her ghost is Frankelda, and because it sounds like Frankenstein, and brings her to the land of horrors so that she can start writing the nightmares there.
Interesting.
And then there's just this whole thing, the political aspect of it, of them, the coup and the, fight. And then, but her and the prince are sort of falling for each other, and a lot of stuff's going on there. It's very cute. It's very quaint and whatnot. The stop motion is spectacular. Was literally jaw dropping, awe-inspiring. Every member of my family was literally in awe of this film. My wife, who is incredibly creative in every aspect, but like in like sewing and things like that, she's talking like, I can see the stitches that they've used there.
That's cool.
I can see the fray. Like, they clearly chose to tear the fabric on that piece rather than cut it, because it's given this fray to things here. And like, all in all of us, and for different and varying reasons, were in genuine literal awe of this film. And as always, when I see things creative like this, it immediately reminds me of just, we do this because we are created. We are created, or we create because we are created. We have a creator. Like, this type of stuff does not exist without God, does not exist without a creative creator who is just as artistic, incredibly more so, obviously. And the whole world is his art piece. And this film, to me, reminded me of that so deeply and so heavily. No matter who you are and what you're doing, I think it's on Netflix. Go watch I Am Frankelda on Netflix right now. If you're brave, you can watch it in the original Spanish. We did not. We watched it in English, and
dubs.
It's got music. The music's fine. The vocalists are good. They're not incredible. They're good, but some of the songs are real fun, but more than anything, just sit and be in awe of the stop motion of this film. Again, 2 hours of stop motion film. Like, the conversation we were having also was, this must have taken years to make, years and years, a decade even maybe to make. It is incredible. Mexican film is kind of blowing up right now. Guillermo del Toro has done a really good job of inspiring a lot. I was
going to say, this sounds like it'd be a Guillermo del Toro movie.
He's done a really good job of inspiring a lot of Mexican filmmakers, and this is the product of that. And so, I Am Frankelda. Go watch it. Great film. All right, that's all I got. Fox, you got anything else?
No, I'm good.
Cool. Well, everybody, thank you so much for listening today. We appreciate each and every one of you listening here. Let us know what you think about the greed going on in the games industry. Let us know what you think about no discs, DRM. Let us know what you think about piracy and all this other stuff. Give us your opinion on all these things. But as always, let us know what has brought you to worship lately. We love to hear the types of things that you guys have been experiencing in your pop culture, in your nerd life, that has brought you to worship as well. We do want to say a really big thank you to the Music Mechanic for the creation of our theme song. You can check him out on YouTube, our friend Tim. It's good stuff there.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and once again, we do this. This is an extension of Save Point Ministries, where we seek to bring people into community, the community of God. You are not required to be a believer, but we do want to game with you. We want to game with you. And we want to bring that, bring the love and joy of the church into your life as well. So please connect with us if that sounds like something you'd be interested in.
If you are also interested in the combination of nerd culture and Christian stuff, if you like this sort of mindset, check out the Love Thy Nerd Podcast Network. There's a whole slew of devout believers who are also podcasting on all aspects of nerd culture. That is the Love Thy Nerd Podcast Network.
And I believe that's all we have for you, so I'll leave you with just a big thanks for listening to Jesus' favorite podcast.
Bye! Saving Continue is made by Save Point Ministries and is a part of the Love Thy Nerd Podcast Network. It is produced and edited by Steve Valdez and Radio Matt Coker. Intro and outro music are done by The Music Mechanic. A special thank you to the Glue Network for their support. For more faith-based and nerd-friendly podcasts, go to lovethynerd.com/listen.